Hey everybody, it's Monday, November 3rd, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we love a parade. It's me, your man, MG Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. So guys, anything fun happened for you this weekend?
Rams won.
Yeah.
Falcons lost. Oh, and the Dodgers. Oh, duh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a baseball game this weekend. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sitting here in my Dodger jersey and my Dodger hat. I'm planning to go to the Dodger victory parade. So I'm not going to lie to you about that. It was a good weekend overall. The 49ers also won. USC also won. It was a good sports weekend around my parts. So, but Florio, the Bills got a win. Big win against the Chiefs. One of those rare weekends all three of our teams win in the NFL.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. And I do love the people who are like, it's your Super Bowl and like, oh, you shouldn't have won. Like, what? Am I supposed to be sad that my favorite team went out and won a huge game? Like, I don't get it. Like, also, it's huge, not just for the rivalry, but for like this year winning the division, the 1 seed. The Chiefs are on the outside looking in now. That could have been the Bills. So like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I know it doesn't mean anything until they win in the playoffs, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Nah, look, I'm with you. I mean, I know I jokingly texted that you're sure you want to win this game because of the postseason, but like, heck no, man. Go out and win. Stack dubs where you can.
Am I supposed to come on today and be like, man, I wish they lost? Like, no.
That's crazy. Why would you ever do that?
Yeah, stack dubs, winning where you can. So, it was a good football weekend for the three of us. Personally, a fantastic baseball weekend and what's going on. So, That is great. Got a lot to talk about on the show because the NFL trading deadline actually hits tomorrow on Tuesday. There are a lot of names that are floating around, so we'll kind of pick up some best fantasy fits for some of these names that are kind of floating around out there. Chances are it may not happen. Chances are it could happen by the time we actually drop this podcast and it reaches you all. But we're going to play with fire. We're going to try that anyway. Got some rest of the season rankings, do a little either or with some players about who you'd rather have. And of course, the waiver wire. Also, because we've hit the midway point of the NFL regular season, we're going to do some midseason awards all throughout the week. So today felt like, since we do waiver wire on Mondays, the waiver wire pickup of the year to this point in the season felt like a good award to hand out. But let's start, as we always do, with some news headlines and a couple of tough ones, including one that happened last night during the Sunday night football game. Jayden Daniels suffered a dislocated elbow. The silver lining to all that, a couple of silver linings. One, it's not going to be season ending. He is expected to miss several games. The number not yet known for Daniels and the Commanders. The other part of it is it was his non-throwing elbow. So hopefully that helps with the rehab and is not going to hopefully mess with his mechanics or anything like that. But Florio, this is the second time now that we will go an extended period without Jayden Daniels. He had been dealing with that hamstring that took him out for a couple of games. So we've seen kind of what this offense looks like with Marcus Mariota at the helm. But what are you doing right now with the Commanders' skill position, guys?
I think you can move on from Zach Ertz. I think Debo becomes like Debo. The first month was fun. The last month has not been at all. I think he becomes more of a bench guy who you could plug in maybe in the right matchup and stuff. Bill, it's not going well for him either. The last month has been brutal since that big blow up game where we thought it was his breakout day. To me, Bill is kind of a flex option that I don't even feel great about using each week. Terry is the one skill position player that if and when he is back, I think you could still start. We saw him catch that touchdown from Mariota last week. The one other game they played together, he led the team in yards. So I still do think Mariota is talented. McLaurin is talented enough and will probably see enough volume. But even he gets dinged to like wide receiver 3 territory. It's just all bad right now. And we need to start viewing their defense how we view the Bengals, the Cowboys. Like, they're old. They can't defend speed. And you could run all over them. You could pass all over them. Like, play people against the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we learned because Sam Darnold was just lights out in the first half. 4 touchdown passes in the first half. I think he was perfect on all of his throws in the first half of that game on Sunday night. Cooking. Just absolutely cooked the Commanders defense. But bad news. Not only did, obviously they lose Jayden Daniels, but Luke McCaffrey also suffered a shoulder injury that took him out early in that ball game. On the defensive side, you talk about the defense already being bad. Now they've lost Marshawn Lattimore to an ACL tear. So, one of the key guys they were counting on in that defense is going to be gone for the rest of the season. So after just a breakout year, would seem like for the Commanders overall, things have fallen apart here in 2025. Bad news on the tight end front. It's already a position, LaQuan, that is pretty shallow to begin with. And one of the guys that we were counting on week to week, Tucker Kraft, he is done for the rest of the season. It was confirmed on Monday morning that he has torn an ACL. So the guy who was on pace for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns, no longer available to Jordan Love and the Packers and to fantasy managers. So are you on the Luke Musgrave hype train?
Well, first of all, a moment of silence for the Kraft owners out there. I am one of them, and I am not happy about this whatsoever because now I have to go to the waiver wire and look for the next tight end. Luke Musgrave might be it. I mean, that'd be the exact knee-jerk reaction to pivot right to the guy that's still on the same team that obviously has a team identity of the tight end position to be able to be useful and be fantasy relevant. So I think Luke Musgrave is an interesting pickup, but if I have a Colston Loveland out there on the waiver wire, I might look to pivot that way. I might look to pivot, elsewhere if I can see if Hunter Henry's still hanging around, because I do feel like now you're going to be at the point where if Tucker Kraft was your ride or die, like you really weren't paying attention to the waiver wire for the tight end position at least. So it's like he was one of the ones that was just supposed to stay just on the course all the way to tight end top 3, I would say like that. But more so looking at Tucker Kraft now out, it's like I don't really have much faith in Luke Musgrave picking up the production that Kraft picked up. So it's like one of those things like you're going to start him and be like low expectations, but I do feel like you should be looking at other options out there on the wire.
Yeah, Musgrave. I remember a couple years ago, right? There was a battle between Musgrave and Kraft, and which tight end was the one you wanted. And obviously, we've gotten a very clear answer in the year or so since we debated that. So I don't know that Luke Musgrave gives you that production.
We're going to talk about it, but this next week is when we get to waivers, it is a good streaming tight end week, in my opinion. So at least for 1 week, you could kind of maybe survive.
All right, so we'll dive into that before the show is over today. Last bit of news: Florio Stroud left the game yesterday against the Broncos with a concussion, so he's in the protocol. Obviously, we'll wait and see what his availability is going to be for next week. But if it ends up being Davis Mills, Nico Collins is kind of the only guy that we sort of believe in regularly in that passing game. Can you trust Nico Collins if it is Davis Mills getting the start?
I think so. I have Nico Collins in a couple of leagues. I'm still 100% going to start him. And even I know it wasn't a full game with him, but he did see 11 targets yesterday, even with CJ Stroud leaving early in the second quarter. 7 for 75. I hate to say it. That's one of his better days on the year. And it came against a tough defense. So next week, who do they get next week? The Jags. Yeah, the Jags have struggled against wide receivers. I think Nico Collins is 100% in play next week. He's still a must start, right? I can't write him up as a start and start him, sit him, right? Or can I?
I think you can. I mean,
I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's I think you can write him up. I mean, obviously he's a very good player, but I think there are questions just because the Texans offense hasn't particularly been great. And now you are maybe looking at the backup quarterback starting. Yeah, I think that's fair game. For me, at least.
Boom. Any dude generating 11 targets, yeah, absolutely. You could write him up. He's good to go.
For sure. So there you go. Obviously, keep an eye on some of these stories as they progress during the week and sort of give you some updates on how to kind of handle it from a fantasy perspective. All right. The fantasy trade deadline still 2 or 3 weeks away, depending on your league settings. I would take a check and see when that trade deadline hits for you. But we do know that the NFL trade deadline will be on Tuesday, November 4th. So about, a little more than 24 hours from when we are recording this podcast. Handful of names of guys that could be on the move. Florio, you and I were talking a couple of days ago about how the NFL trade deadline doesn't have the same level of intrigue or action to it that other sports do. Baseball's always fun. The NBA is just the Wild West because you never know what's going to happen in basketball.
Super teams are created.
Yeah, guys getting traded just for salary dump reasons and that sort of thing. It's crazy.
Buyout season in the NBA is always fun too. We don't get that in the NFL.
You do not. So anyway, I got 5 guys here, and we'll kind of go through them fairly quickly about where we might like to see them go. LaQuan, I'll start with you with Breece Hall, who obviously it's just not working out for the Jets. The Jets are kind of a mess. They may be undergoing their 11th rebuild over the last few years, depending on how things are going.
Since I've been born.
I mean, every year it's just they go 2 years and they're like, let's blow it up and start over. So Breece Hall could be on the move. Is there a spot you'd like to see him go that could maximize his fantasy value?
I've been saying Chiefs for a while. Like now, it just feels like it could be a nice little plug and play situation for them. You get somebody that can get it done on the ground, and obviously, Breece Hall's looking for a fresh start. So I think why not get on a Super Bowl winning team? Why not join now? I mean, I do think that they obviously need help at the running back position because Pacheco, big jersey, my guy, but hey, it ain't getting it done. Not in fantasy and not in real life. And then you have Kareem Hunt. Obviously, he's up there. He's like the old guy hanging out in the club that could still get it done and still go out there and get the drinks and, score some touchdowns. But I think, Brashard Smith is one of the bigger disappointments for me personally. I was hoping that he could step up and be that Jarrett McKinnon. So obviously, they're still lacking a pass catching back. They're lacking the explosiveness out of the backfield. So going to get a guy midseason right now, like Breece Hall, I honestly think that puts them back on track to where we don't have to question if the Chiefs are an all-around built team that are ready for the Super Bowl. If they get Breece Hall, you might as well punch their ticket back there.
31 other fan bases are punching the air at the idea of Breece Hall going to the Kansas City Chiefs right
30,
now.
because the Rams, I ain't got no smoke for them. They could bring it. I mean, we got our Super Bowl in between their dynasty, so I ain't worried about it.
That's fine. What weirdly about this too, right, is because the Chiefs, despite having struggles in their backfield, they're ranked 9th in total rushing yards right now. I mean, some of it's because Patrick Mahomes has almost 300 yards all by himself, but it hasn't looked good, but the numbers are there, which has been sort of wild there. Jalen Waddle down in Miami, Florio. The Dolphins have been as much of a disaster, maybe even more in some respects, than the Jets have been so far. I know they've been sort of wishy-washy on whether or not they want to move Waddle, but if they decide they're moving on, a good landing spot for him.
It's hard when we have so many receivers up for grabs because I think the best landing spot for all of them would be the Bills because they need an outside presence. Yeah. They have Josh Allen, but there's a number of other teams. Do the Giants decide they want to upgrade their wide receiver room? And Waddle is one that would make a lot of sense for them because he's not just a 1-year rental. Here's a sneaky wide receiver destination, I think. The Bucks, right? Mike Evans is done for the year. It's looking like Chris Godwin, who knows what's going on with him. Tez Johnson has been solid, but you have a quarterback putting up MVP-like numbers in Baker Mayfield up until these injuries hit. I think they are one. There's no shortage of options for wide receivers because then I didn't mention the Patriots. They could use a wide receiver. So I know we're going to talk all wide receivers now the rest of the way, but there's a number of teams that I think Jalen Waddle can fit anywhere because he could play in the slot. He could play out wide. He could be a 1. He could be a 2. He, to me, is the biggest wide receiver available right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think because he is so versatile, as you mentioned. I'm going to say, look, even the 49ers could use some wide receiver help at this point.
We want our players healthy, man. No, we don't want them. No, stop. Don't do that. I was hoping 40 Winers did not come up this entire segment because, we want our fantasy players healthy, Marcus. No, we're not doing that.
Look, they have a need at the position. He would fill the need for them. So, everywhere. I'm just putting that out there. So, Chris Olave, who I think is sort of a different situation, though, right? LaQuan, and I know he has been in the satchel of discontent pretty much since day one.
He's poked his head out.
He's poked his head out, right? He's trying to climb his way out of the satchel.
Hello, I'm here.
And I don't know if you want to handle both him and Shaheed together, or you can split them up. But Chris Olave, I know they've tried to use him as kind of a downfield threat. I'm not sure he totally is, but is there a spot that you think he can thrive in?
New Orleans. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to be, bland with it. I think he needs to stay home. That's the one that I don't want to see moving because like you said, they've tried all these things with him. They tried using him downfield. His health is always going to be in the back of your mind. So I don't see a team going out there investing in a guy who's looking to get a contract who has all these concussions. So I think he found a home in New Orleans, right off into the sunset. I mean, it's very dark there sometimes after 8 o'clock, but, ride off and try to shine there as the wide receiver 1. But I honestly think Rashid Shaheed, man, He needs to be a Bill. I'm riding with Florio on this. He needs to be a Bill to give Josh Allen this deep threat. I could see it now. Like, it's one of those things, like, this should have happened before the season even started. Like, that should have been their guy to go get to be the deep threat, not Joshua Palmer and Keon Coleman. We spoke about plenty of times, but I would rather see Rashid Shaheed get moved to, upstate New York. Go out there and, show up and show out with Josh Allen.
How you feel about that, Florio?
I'd be cool with it. I'm cool with adding any of these receivers that there's some that I want more than others, but
you just want them to make a move.
Yeah, I just want an outside wide receiver. That's what I want. But I think Shaheed would fit there really well, and I think Shaheed would fit with the Patriots really well as well, because Drake May, that best deep ball thrower in the league. Like, also, Shaheed had 9 targets yesterday, twice as many as anyone else on the Saints. Maybe he needs to stay there. Maybe him and Shuck have that chemistry brewing.
I will say, you talk about getting a deep threat for Drake May. Kayshon Boutte did leave with a hamstring injury. Not sure just yet of the severity of it. If it'll cause him to miss time or how much time potentially. But he was the guy they were using as that. He was the guy they were using as that downfield threat. So we'll see, if this is going to hamper him a little bit. The last one on the list, Florio, and I don't know how you feel about Calvin Ridley. I'm going to just throw this one out here at you, and you can tell me how you think about this. Why not send him back to Jacksonville? Send him back to the Jags a little bit, especially with, Travis Hunter is out for at least a month, dealing with a knee injury. Brian Thomas Jr. also got hurt yesterday, so we'll see.
They hate him.
We'll see. That's the other part. Like, they just can't figure out how to integrate him in the offense. At least they can't make it work with him and Trevor Lawrence. I just don't know why. I think I'm over the idea of Calvin Ridley being this big play, game-changing receiver. I think he's a good possession guy. He's a chain mover. But I think he's been in the league for a while now. He's 30. Like, the ship Florio has sailed on him being just this transformational receiver, I believe.
I get why you feel that way. I do think he has more downfield chops than we have seen the last couple of years. I blame quarterback play a lot for that. I do think the Jags are one that makes sense because now they suddenly have a big need if Brian Thomas Jr.'s ankle is serious. I also think, though, he's one that makes sense for the Giants because the Giants want, one, Dable and Sheen want to save their job, and 2, they want to see Jackson Dart go on to win Rookie of the Year and stuff, and he needs some better downfield outside playmakers. But the thing about Ridley and Waddle, the 2 that I bring them up, is they're under contract beyond just this year. So if you're the Giants, you're not just worried about the next 8 weeks. You're trying to get someone there that he could develop chemistry with to be the number 2 once Malik Neighbors is back next year. So again, we keep throwing out a number of teams because there's a lot. We didn't mention the Steelers. I think Jacoby Myers is a great fit with them. But there's a lot of wide receivers available right now, it sounds like, and a lot of teams that need wide receivers. So these next, 28 hours from the time that we're recording right now, going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. It's either going to be a lot of fun or it's going to be a whole big bag of nothing.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the whole bag of nothing. That's what I'm expecting.
I think we get a couple of trades.
Yeah, the usual with the NFL trade deadline's a big bag of nothing.
The one thing I want to say about Ridley, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Miami, but it's that contract that, that he has beyond this year. And then what do you do with Tyreek Hill? Do you cut him before, the bonus that kicks in before March? I don't know. I think that Calvin really should be able to find a home that has at least above average quarterback. Because think about it. He had to deal with Trevor Lawrence and then go to Will Levis. Mason
Rudolph.
You
calling Tua above average?
Above average, yes. I will call him above average, yeah.
I think the Dolphins are not going to add. I think they're they fired their GM. I think they're just trying to clear as much cap for next season as possible.
Yeah, I don't think Tyreek Hill's back in Miami.
So you have a hole now.
From the few things
I think they're going to let the new GM figure that out.
Yeah, the few things I've read from Tyreek Hill, he's not sure if he's going to be back in Miami next year too. So there could be an opening there.
We might not see Tyreek play meaningful. We might see him go out like Odell went out,
Hey, he'll be in Tennessee. Let's go.
The rest home for wide receivers. Yeah,
yes.
that's
how you know it's over.
The Baltimore, Tennessee, the Chiefs, where we always talk about.
Julio Jones, Robert Woods. Go ahead and add him.
D-Hop.
Tyreek Hill. D-Hop.
I don't want
He
to
outplayed for all three of them.
Julio.
Like,
Yeah.
The retirement homes did the full tour.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see Tyreek Hill in Tennessee. I don't remember Julio Jones in Tennessee. I know that for sure. So, all right. We'll see what happens with the trading deadline. And if something moves, obviously, we will talk about it from a fantasy perspective and kind of give you some updates on that. Still one more game to be played in week 9. The Cardinals and the Cowboys will play on Monday Night Football, but we have seen the majority of the week already come and pass us by. So I had a few things that popped up on my mind that I want to get your feelings on. So, LaQuan, start with you here on this one. Did TreVeyon Henderson... Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with Florio because you are the TreVeyon Henderson guy. But I see LaQuan already getting the mid-o-meter ready. So we'll let Florio answer, and then we'll do the mid-o-meter update on this one. So, Florio, did TreVeyon Henderson yesterday do enough to renew your faith? I know it wasn't a huge game, but he did get a lot of opportunity. Is that enough to keep you on board?
yeah, I mean, I'm not dropping him. But if Ramondre and like it's a good matchup. They get the Bucs next week, who have struggled against pass catching back. He had 6 targets last week. If Stevenson is out, I think TreVeyon is the RB15 right now, pending Monday Night Football on the week. Like I think if Stevenson is out, he has done enough where we know we could start him. But I think if Stevenson is active, you probably want to see it first in a game that he's out there. That's kind of but he looked good. Like I know it wasn't a perfect game by him, and I'm not saying it was, but he looked good, especially when they get him the ball in space. Like by the time I got to my car, because I do the Sunday show, it was like 10-10, maybe like 5 minutes into the game. He had like 40 yards already. So that shows you the big play capabilities that he has.
I was surprised still, though, to see the number of carries that Terrell Jennings had in that game.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Henderson get the targets and stuff, but yeah, very surprised that I just thought that you'd see Henderson get more touches overall. The carries were a lot closer than I thought they were going to be. We got a middle meter update, though. Where is Hendo? Is he at least Hendo now?
I'm happy to report he has moved up. Right under the flex territory because the ceiling is 12 fantasy points. Like, I feel like that's serviceable in the flex appeal if you have your expectations there. And again, I mean, look, he looked good. He looked good, Florio. It's just, I need him to fall in the end zone now. That's what I need. I need him to fall in the end zone and not Terrell Jennings.
Mike Vrabel's never going to forget it.
It haunts him forever.
Like, sir, you'll never touch the ball again.
I'm curious on the other side of the middle meter, though.
Yeah, what about Trev? Because
he played well.
Oh, no, he threw it away?
Get him out of here. I am about to erase this entire left side of the board. This is not even on the rundown, guys, but I'm going to take this quick little 20 seconds. Trevor Lawrence has downgraded to T-Low for the rest of the season. My boy throwing red zone interceptions. My boy is making De'Ami Brown take concussions after middle of the field type of hospital balls. And then Brian Thomas Jr. does not get involved in the game until the second half, until where fantasy points are starting to build up, and then false hope that, hey, they're not going to target him in the end zone. They're not even going to target him because Parker Washington is taking all the attention from Trevor Lawrence. So he is T-Low for the rest of the season. I am erasing this left side of the board. I don't want to hear no more.
Even after
Trevor Lawrence for the rest of the year.
He had 21 points. He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Selfish. He is a selfish man. 0 touchdowns, an interception, 2 rushing touchdowns to save his fantasy week that nobody started him. Because listen, I am tired of having Brian Thomas Jr.
I was
in the
saying
flex.
he's a sleeper this week.
That is toxic of you to do that, because why do you want to see that?
QB11.
Bro.
I felt the same way that he was a sleeper this week. He gave you 21 points. It's a matchup.
He outscored Bo Nix.
So,
he outscored
he's
Drake
a
May,
sleeper because
Jared
of the rushing
Goff,
touchdowns? Be
Daniel
honest,
Jones.
you had him as a sleeper. No,
They don't ask
all right,
how,
chill
they
out.
ask how many. That's it.
Nah, he's gone. The middle meter's gone for Trevor Lawrence. Like, it's done. Like, it doesn't make sense to even keep going.
We still have TreVeyon Henderson, I guess we can catch up on.
There we go.
The question I really wanted to ask you, though, LaQuan, because we've come back around here midseason. Now, are you willing to say that Ladd McConkey is the alpha wide receiver for the Chargers with what he's done the past few weeks? I see you rolling your eyes already.
I will say this, right? If he's the alpha, then what is Keenan Allen? Because he's obviously going to be Herbert's main guy. And look, I understand that Ladd, at the end of the day, he has shown that he can operate out of that slot and be very dangerous last season. Now they're starting to get him more utilized of how he could be dangerous. But I think Keenan Allen is still going to have something to say. I know these last couple of weeks for Allen has not been the great fantasy, outcome we've gotten, but Justin Herbert has done some very questionable things in games where we're like, yo, you good, bro? Like this almost looked like it was a game in the beginning of the quarters. Like I was just looking at Justin Herbert, like where's that 400-yard guy? Like where's that guy that's able to distribute the ball to 2 or more pass catchers? So I think Ladd McConkey, he's not the stamp alpha, but he could be the number 1 wide receiver. I just don't think he's the guy that's going to be like, oh, we're going to have consistent wide receiver 1 weeks from him. Because if we label a guy an alpha, when I label Keenan Allen's an alpha, he was making 20 plus fantasy points back-to-back games. Like, I don't see that in Ladd right now. I think he could be the wide receiver 1, but I'm not stamping him as the alpha of this offense. No, absolutely not.
I do think, though, that when teams started focusing more on Quentin Johnston and taking him away, that's when Ladd sort of came to. Like, I don't think the Chargers went into this year being like, hey, man, Quentin Johnston's just going to take over and we're going to load him up with targets.
They didn't see a Rondé Gaskin coming. Like, these are things that are just popping up naturally. Nobody saw the QJ breakout.
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert found him, and now they're going somewhere else. So
I think there's going to be pockets of the season, like the first 3 weeks, whereas Keenan and Quentin Johnston. Like, there's going to be pocket, like the last 5-6 weeks, it's been Ladd. Like, he leads them in every category. But Gadsden is there. Like, it's going to be annoying because I do agree that, like, there will be weeks where it's a Keenan Allen week. There will be weeks where it's a Quentin Johnston week. But the one that I think you could start with the most confidence is Ladd. Keenan has topped 60 yards once in the last 6 weeks.
All right, chill out. Now there's been ups and downs. He's an old man out there. What I'm saying is he's still getting the attention. He's still getting the volume. That's what's important. I can't label Ladd as an alpha. I can't label a wide receiver an alpha if he's going to have off weeks. Like we throw this alpha word out there. When I said it, Keenan Allen was the alpha. He was the guy.
He's had more down weeks now.
I'll say this: the Chargers wide receiver room. The Chargers wide receiver room is what I think wished a couple years ago the Packers wide receiver room could be. Because the Chargers have a lot of guys, but at least we have a level of confidence that, like, you know what? Like, okay, we know that at least 1 or 2 of these guys every week is going to pop. The Packers have all these guys. You're like, I don't think any of them are going to do anything. So that's what that is. Couple questions about the Bears after that wild game they had against the Bengals yesterday. I went back and rewatched that one last night. Florio, could we end up with a timeshare in the Chicago backfield after what Kyle Monangai did? I know it was the Bengals, but he looked good. He's looked good before. When DeAndre Swift comes back, is he looking over his shoulder?
I just saw on Twitter the Packers tweeted happy birthday to Tucker Kraft. That is bad.
Just say it's a scheduled tweet.
for the Bears, I think it's possible. I think we could see Kyle Monangai eat into DeAndre Swift's work. I saw a lot of people on Twitter yesterday being like, Kyle Monangai is not giving this job back. And I just want to reiterate every single, like, look, I'm not saying DeAndre Swift would have had the game that Kyle Monangai had, but every single running back weekly has their best week against the Bengals defense. Like, yes. I want to just caveat with that, but DeAndre Swift is clearly, I think, always going to be the preferred passing down option for the Bears. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we saw a 50-50 or 60-40 split on the ground, because let's not forget DeAndre Swift has been balling out the last month as well before he got hurt. So I don't think Monangai completely goes back to the role that he had prior, but I still do think DeAndre Swift is the lead option until we see otherwise, and he is the one that I would feel more confident starting in fantasy.
100%. No, I think he's still the lead, but I do, I'm with you, right? I think Monangai is going to earn a bigger role with what he has done. Yeah, I'm not of that whole like, oh, Monangai's the starter now. No, man, he played well. He also played the Bengals. Do people realize that there's a 2-man system in multiple teams right now that have 2 fantasy relevant running backs? Like, this ain't nothing foreign. Like, we've seen this for the last couple of years. That's kind of crazy. The fantasy streets were chirping that, Florio. Like,
yeah, I saw some people. I don't remember who it was exactly, but I saw a couple of them, and I was like, really? Like, maybe I'm just blinded by my love for DeAndre Swift, but
no, that feels like that's prisoner of the moment stuff. Is what that is. That's all that is. The other thing, though, LaQuan, Colston Loveland, who I had as a sleeper this week, I'll take a pat on the back for that one. Is he a thing now? I mean, Cole Kmet had an injury last week. I think he left with a concussion, if I recall. Yesterday, Colston Loveland had a couple of big catches, including that crazy touchdown that ended up being the game winner at the end. have the Bears figured out how to unlock their rookie tight end now?
I believe so, because back-to-back games, he's ran 30 routes. Like, these are like routes that are valuable to him to where he's actually seeing targets on these routes. He's actually gaining the attention of Caleb. And obviously, you know, I think 9 times out of 10, a lot of defenses would have stopped that breakaway win touchdown catch. But I think at the end of the day, that just shows that, you know, Ben Johnson's going to put him in positions. He's going to put him in positions to be able to score like that. So I think now these last couple of weeks with Kmet being out, banged up, concussion now, I do think this will be the end that we see Cole Kmet season even chirped in the fantasy streets. I think this is Loveland's takeover, and it's perfect timing, like how I mentioned earlier in the show with Tucker Kraft going down with an injury. I am staring at Colston Loveland right now on the waiver wire in a league that I obviously need to fill a hole with the tight end position because I just been getting hit left and right, you know? So I think at the end of the day, I think that, you know, Loveland is starting to build that confidence, that trust with Caleb and Ben Johnson. So seeing that back-to-back season highs in this routes ran, that shows opportunity that he's on the field and he's not just out there running cardio.
Yeah, I think if he's out there, I'd say smash that add button and get him on your roster as soon as possible. There's some quick ROS rankings, a little bit of who would you rather. But first, this news just came across. Okay. We can do that, sure. But first, this news that just came across, the Browns making a change in play caller. Head coach Kevin Stefanski saying he is giving up his play calling duties, and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees will call the plays on offense.
Did we not just see the last guy do that and get... Right.
It feels like things are going really, really sour quick for Stefanski and Cleveland.
Yeah, which, you know, look, there's so many reasons that I think the Browns are the Browns, and I
traded a quarterback in the division.
I think a lot of it happens above Kevin Stefanski's head, but unfortunately,
I don't think Stefanski's been happy there for the last couple of years either.
I remember when I had on my whiteboard
free
Stefanski last season. Had free him up here, man.
So yeah. All right. I put together some guys, you know, guys who are pretty close together in terms of their week to week production, and just sort of ask you, who would you rather have for the remainder of the season? So we will start with LaQuan on this one. Who would you rather have? Dak Prescott or Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford. Obviously. Look, listen, I hate the fact that now people are starting to catch up that Matthew Stafford is in this MVP legacy tour right now. It is late to have this conversation because Rams fans like me been having this earlier in the season. He's top 5 in the NFL. I don't care where you put him in the top 5, but he is top 5 in the NFL right now, and it's starting to reflect for fantasy. These touchdowns are up. 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Name another quarterback right now that's cooking like that. You can't. So it's Matthew Stafford, man. And Florio, I'm on your head top because you was talking crazy about Stafford 2 episodes ago, bro.
All I said was he wasn't the MVP favorite, which he still is right now.
He is.
He's 4th.
Bro, that is insane. What other quarterback is playing better than him? It ain't Josh Allen, and it damn sure ain't Patrick Mahomes. Come on. What are we talking about right now?
As well.
No, hell to the no. You got me on.
This isn't my opinion. This is
about
what
to crash.
Is out
I'm about
there.
to crash.
This is what friends in the desert are talking about right now. That's all I know.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Stafford is the MVP. Only talk right now.
We'll give you a second. We'll give you a second. Take a few deep breaths. You can woo.
Are they going to win next week?
Yeah.
Quan has walked away. For those of you who maybe haven't caught up on the schedule, understandable. The Rams go to Santa Clara to play the 49ers this week. So, you know.
That's not in San Francisco.
I see the Hammers back. All right, great.
It'll be back Wednesday.
Are we getting a poem bet or something on this one? Like, we'll decide on Wednesday.
Oh, man. Florio, running backs. Who'd you rather have, Rico Dowdle or J.K. Dobbins rest of the season?
Rico Dowdle, and it's not even close. J.K. Dobbins is losing more and more production to R.J. Harvey. And so I do the Sunday show with Mike Yam and Steve Weish every week. And Quab, our producer, asked me a question last week. He was like, is Rico Dowdle an RB1? And on the head, I was like, no. But then I sat down and I looked and I listed the names out, and there was 11 names at running back that I was like, I would definitively take over him. Then there was a few like Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift that I was like, there's a conversation. Rico Dowdle is just climbing up this list because yesterday he played 75% of the snaps. He went for 130 yards, multiple scores. Like, yeah, he's an RB1 moving forward, and I would take him over a lot of running backs, including J.K. Dobbins.
I will say yesterday was kind of an eye-opener, right? Because I knew he was going to get more touches. I don't think that was much of a surprise. One, the fact that he had 25 carries to just 5 for Chuba Hubbard. And more importantly, he had 5 yards per carry against a good Packers run defense. Like nobody's run on the Packers this year. Rico Dowdle ran all over the Packers yesterday.
Look, I know all three of us, we watch a lot of football. I don't think anyone in the world saw this coming from Rico Dowdle because like he had a whole opportunity to be the starter. Like he is so much better than anything we've ever seen from him before.
Just fueled by spite. Fueled by spite. That's
Got
what
it.
it is. You know, I mean, because he did it. Obviously, he did it against more than just the Cowboys. I mean, he had that huge game against Dallas where, he just beat up on him. But the week before that, he went for 200 against Miami. Now he's gone for 130 against the Packers. He went for almost 80 against
he's
the
hit
Jets.
the entire spectrum, like worst, middle of the pack, and then the top tier defenses. Like he's been a guy that you can rely on. And I think naming him RB1 for fantasy, I don't sound nasty saying it. I think we could stamp it.
Yeah, no, I think that's where we are.
I also feel for the Panthers because most years they'd be in the playoff hunt, but the NFC is so top heavy this year that like it's an uphill battle even at over 500 right now.
Yeah, for sure. LaQuan, wide receiver, Michael Pittman. And I swear I'm not doing this to try and troll you. Just these are the questions. These were the ones that popped into my head as I was doing this last night. Michael Pittman or Devontae Adams?
This one was actually harder when I seen it on the doc where I was thinking like I could put my Rams hat on and be like, look, he's strapped to Matthew Stafford, blah, 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 blah. But Michael Pittman has been one of those guys you could rely on to give us output of wide receiver 1. To me, it's like this is a good situation to have if they're both on your rosters, but like rest of the season question, man, it's close. I went Devontae Adams was close, but I think with Puka and these injuries starting to build up, there might be a lot more games where the focal point might be on Adams as the wide receiver 1. And like, I do think, with Puka getting these injuries piling up, like I think maybe they start, pulling down some of these end arounds and him running full speed into a linebacker. I mean, like I kind of always hated those type of plays for him being that he is a smaller back, but so great after the catch. So it's like you take those chances, but Devontae Adams may be set up more for wide receiver 1 production where we saw Danny Dimes, last week against a chaos defensive line and batting everything down kind of show that, there could be some struggles and holes to the Colts offense.
Yeah, Daniel Jones turned back into Daniel Jones at a bad time for the Colts yesterday, for sure. Last one, do some tight ends here, Florio. Kyle Pitts or Sam Laporta?
It's still Sam Laporta for me. Kyle Pitts, though, is someone that I think should be rostered and you could start most weeks. He's getting a lot of consistent volume, but we saw yesterday, 21.7 fantasy points for Sam Laporta. I don't think Kyle Pitts hasn't reached that number all year. I don't think he has that ceiling. Yeah, it is a season high, but Laporta in 3 of his last 4 games has scored 16 or more. So the floor is low and it's going to be inconsistent, which is annoying for all Lions right now, not named Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I still think the upside is high enough where he's the preferred option there.
Yeah, I was surprised that, I guess not. The production's been up and down for Laporta. We kind of know what it's been for Kyle Pitts. It was closer in my head than I thought, but I think
Gibbs even like is the Lions need Ben Johnson back.
Yeah. It's been maybe not what we hoped it would be this year for the Detroit Lions offense. So anyway, getting ready to turn the page into week 10. We have hit double-digit weeks now here in the NFL in the 2025 season. But Florio, you put together a list of waiver wire options. Please let us know what you got.
Joe Flacco's on bye, but man, he is just going off each week because he has the worst defense maybe in the history of the NFL. Brock Purdy is nearing a return, and he has been dropped in a lot of leagues, so I wanted to include him. J.J. McCarthy showed us yesterday that he does have that upside, so if you're weak at quarterback, maybe you want to add him. I don't love him. His matchup next week, though, and then Michael Penix Jr., he is just a streaming option, I think, but he has a favorable matchup next week. Look, Kyle Monangai needs to be rostered after what he did, and he's still under that 60% threshold. Devin Singletary actually played over Tyrone Tracy Jr. this week. Like, that I don't think has been talked about enough. Isaiah Davis, because if they trade Breece Hall, he's an RB1 for the Jets, and even if they don't, he has flex appeal in fantasy. Bashal Tuin we saw a little bit more utilized this week. Tajay Spears continues to be more and more utilized, and we're hearing Tony Pollard in trade rumors. And then Terrell Jennings and Ollie Gordon I included Gordon just in case the Dolphins blow everything up. At wide receiver, Troy Franklin, like, he is kind of matching Cortland Sutton's production, but he's still available on waivers in a lot of leagues. Alec Pierce, we know the floor could be low, but the ceiling is very, very high. Parker Washington was the top option for the Jags last week, and now we got to monitor BTJ's health. Christian Watson already has jumped ahead of Matthew Golden there, and with Tucker Kraft out, that means even more targets up for grab. Torrey Horton, I don't think he's someone that you could pick up and use, but just in case he surpasses Cooper Kupp in the target pecking order,
he will.
Josh Downs. Josh Downs has been very safe. Chimere Dike, just in case Ridley gets traded, and then Malik Washington in case Waddle gets traded. Tight ends, Gadsden, again, shout out to you, LQ, Colston Loveland. This is what I was talking about earlier. Colston Loveland, I think, is in play as a streaming option this week. Dalton Schultz, I think, is in play in a favorable matchup as a streaming option. Theo Johnson, Cade Otton, Mason Taylor. Those are all guys that I think you could pick up and stream. And then Luke Musgrave. If you have Tucker Kraft and you lost him, I think it's smart to pick up Musgrave as the long-term ad and then pick up one of these other guys as the week 10 play.
I'm shocked that Arundé Gadsden's still out there on the waiver wire, man. Like, what are folks doing? Like, go get him, man. Like, he shouldn't be out there anymore.
Drop somebody that is collecting dust and go pick up a tight end one. What is wrong with
man.
you?
Like, that one just
he's
blows
just
my
under
mind.
the threshold. I think he's in, as of yesterday at least, it was like 58%. And I was like, all right, I'll take the layup.
Yeah, just like, I don't know, man. Like, y'all just stop. I don't know. You can drop Jonnu Smith or something. Just go get Arundé Gadsden at this point. All right, so those are the waiver wire options for week 10. Let's rewind to the first 9 weeks of the NFL season and talk about our waiver wire pickup of the year to this point as we do some of our mid-season awards. We'll have more for you later on in the week as well. But LaQuan, who for your money is the waiver wire pickup of the year?
I'm just going to take this time the victory lap now that we're in the mid-season point. There was nobody out there in the fantasy streets telling folks to draft Daniel Jones, but some folks that didn't listen. Joe Burrow goes down with an injury. You look to the waiver wire. The savior is there, Mr. Jones. You pick him up right off the waiver wire. Plug and play. This guy's averaging more than 19 fantasy points per game. He's currently leading heading into Monday Night Football, unless Dak throws for 400 yards, in passing yards. This is something that is so left field for some people to see, but the believers of the Joneses, we stick together, man. I was telling folks to go out there and draft this guy, and now the potential he could still lock himself as a top 10 fantasy quarterback. This has to be the waiver wire midseason award winner here because, man, how could you lose Joe Burrow or dealing with Jayden Daniels or dealing with guys who are just underperforming where they should be QB1s where this guy's coming in lighting it up. I love Daniel Jones rest of the season, man, even though last game was not great for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the down games happen, for pretty much everybody, but Daniel Jones has been lights out. And shout out to you because I think we sort of pointed and laughed at you early in the season, but
I mean, the rest of the fantasy streets were doing that, man, but I'm used to it at this point.
Congrats to you. Florio, who is your waiver wire midseason pickup of the year?
Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart is top 6 or 7 quarterback rest of the way. Like, I'll still take Mahomes over him. I'll take Allen. I'll take Lamar. I'll take Hurts. You could put Drake May there. After that, I don't think there's anyone else I'd rather have than Jackson Dart because he is a cheat code. 4 different times he has ran for 50 or more yards. 5 of his 6 starts, he has ran for a touchdown. That is why we love Allen and Lamar and Hurts. And Jackson Dart is doing that. Coming into yesterday, he was averaging over 21 fantasy points per game as a starter, and then he dropped 27 yesterday. So that's going to go even higher. He is approaching elite fantasy territory, and I think people are still kind of skeptical because it's the Giants and they're not a great team and everything. That even makes it better because when they're in catch-up mode, he runs a lot, he throws a lot, he airs the ball out, and if the Giants go and get him a receiver, it could get even better. So I have Jackson Dart on a number of teams. I was drafting him in all my Superflex leagues. He is a must play. I don't even consider it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the way, because like you can almost pencil in a rushing touchdown from him every single week. And so then anything he gives you with his arm turns out to be even more of a bonus. So that's a solid one there. I'm going to go with the guy we just talked about just a couple minutes ago, and that's Arundé Gadsden, who we are always looking for more guys who can be productive at the tight end position. It is still the thinnest position in all of fantasy football. And this is a guy who didn't play the first 2 games of the season. The Chargers eased him in slowly once he got healthy and was ready to go. He's the tight end 11 heading into Monday Night Football. He's averaging almost 12.5 fantasy points per game, averaging more points per game than Sam Laporta right now, averaging more points per game. I mean, we love Harold Fannin, who's another, Harold Fannin would literally be another quality candidate here in this category. But Rondé Gadsden right now having a fantastic season. In fact, he is 4th in receiving yards among tight ends. Just coming out of nowhere, but looks like a guy who's got some staying power in this Chargers offense. And again, we know the bar for tight end is low. He has cleared it and then some to this point. So if you grabbed him, great. Like he said, he's out there in a shocking number of leagues. Go get him. What are you doing? Go add Rondé Gadsden to your roster if you have tight end problems. So there you go. Those are our candidates for the waiver wire pickup of the year through the first 9 weeks of the season. So there you go. That will do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well, everybody. Enjoy your week. We will talk to you again on Wednesday.